Been a while since I made a property related video, but a friend of mine just yesterday contacted me and said, hey, I've got this amazing property I want to show you between the township of Karkupe and Tobati. So I thought, well, I'll go and check it out, grab the camera while I'm at it and show you for what it's worth. So here I am. My first impression about this place is that it's absolutely beautiful in this part of the world. I know this area pretty well, but I haven't actually been up this particular road. It's brought me to this, what I think is a really beautiful spot. This property is a bit over 8 hectares. I think it's about 8.2 hectares. And the way it's shaped is essentially like an L shape. It's got a very broad street frontage. I think it's 200 and something meters. I'll put it up on the screen. That goes along 90 meters, and then it runs down to a narrower section that's essentially its L leg, so to speak. And what's not unusual in Paraguay is you'll find all sorts of creative ways that they've divided land, and this is no exception. But just having a quick look at the dimensions, I think that it's a really usable bit of land. And when you consider the price that they're asking for it, I think that it's really worth considering for somebody who's looking for something like this. But one of the real features of this place is it's kind of in this really lovely sort of valley. It feels like a valley. There is Cerro Tobati just over several hundred meters. You can see that from here, and it just provides a really nice backdrop for the property. Without having gone into anything, the house, and I believe that's a poultry shed of sorts. That price point to me just seems incredibly fair. And the thing that I think that when we come to properties we can sometimes just overlook is just the infrastructure. Because I can say from someone who's done some building and development of a smaller piece of property, nothing is cheap these days, even in Paraguay. Well, there are some things that are relatively cheap here, but when it comes to things like fencing and infrastructure, they all cost money. And thankfully, with a property like this, you've got at least cattle-proof fences. You've got power to the door. Looks like even they've got a camera up there, the sneaky little buggers. That's a good thing to have. And there is communal water. So it doesn't have a well of its own, but I should imagine there would be no problem in arranging that. Now, I've been told that the property has got a portion of it, I think it was 2 or 3 hectares of the over 8 hectares. It goes down to a lower part of the property, and that's what I've been told is kind of a damp area. It might be sort of partially even swampy of sorts. So it doesn't sound like on the face of it the entire 8.2 hectares is immediately usable. But even if what I believe is perhaps 5 or 6 hectares is usable, well, at the price point that they're asking and what you're getting for your money, I think it is really a property that is worth having a good look at. Just looking at the house, it's really quite neat. The roof is nice and relatively straight. There's no massively obvious rising damp type issues. They've thought through their drainage. They're running it off the house and running it away. The other thing I like about a house like this is they haven't rendered it. So you're not holding on to a whole lot of moisture behind render. There is a little bit of what might be some sort of damp, perhaps mold or discoloration. I'm not sure. It might be a bit of mold on the outside, but it's getting plenty of sun on this side, so that would also help. But there's nothing there that really bothers me in any way personally. And I just would say straight off the bat that it's a nicely, simply constructed house with good bricks. It's not the cheap bricks that you see. It's not hollow bricks. It's the good, solid bricks. Nice and straight, got air conditioners. And around here, all very tidy. I like it. Straight little house. And as I've said in other videos, I think, you know, buying a property with something on it is always so much more preferable for various reasons, not the least of which is that property is now designated as a place where people live. You're not changing the use of it. And I think that kind of has a good karma attached to it when you move to an area. When you buy blank land and you build from scratch, sometimes you can make a splash that you perhaps wouldn't have liked to have made. And the other interesting thing, just before I go inside, that I've noticed is just behind me here is this tank. And my friends tell me that it is basically a tank set up to capture the rainwater from the roof of the house. Looks like it's fairly newly constructed. And I've been told it isn't actually finished, the construction in terms of the connection from the plumbing of the house to the tank, but it's good to know it's down on that little bit of a slope. And you can see the house has got guttering, and I assume that maybe this channel also might articulate into that tank. I'm not sure. There is a plan for it though, and it's just good to know that you've got that other reserve of water besides the communal town water that it's on. That'd be something that you'd always check out if you bought a property like this, was to check out the quality of the water being delivered to it. But in our experience, generally the water supplies in these sort of settings are generally very good. So it's just something to check out. But to have another potential source of water with your own significant water tank is a real plus. So we'll just go inside and just check it out, see what's going on. Again, it's, you know, really rustico, but tidy. Doesn't have any sort of dankiness or smelliness to it. And I just really appreciate that it's not stuccoed. That door's locked, so I don't know what's going on in there. It's probably just a bedroom. You know, your standard bathroom. I assume this is locked too. Yep. So I don't know, probably 2 bedrooms in there. Can't be too complicated. And, you know, a basic little kitchen type area. But a great starting point. If I was looking for a property to build on, this would be the sort of thing that I would be really appreciative of, because at least it gives you a place to, I guess, just set up initially. And without too much effort, you could add substantially to it. For example, if you wanted some more immediate room, you've already got a roof here, and it would take very little to build that out and give you some additional space. You could put a carport up in no time to accommodate your cars. So just on the face of it, a really neat little property, neat little house that you could either live in it as it is, or, you know, trick it up, extend it, and you've got something to live in whilst you're building something else, or just improving that to the point where you're happy with it, which is really nice. And the other thing that just strikes me about this place is it's just being cared for. It's really clean as, it's neat. Nothing sort of really jumps out at me as being gross or odd. There's no dodgy smells. Nice outside area here, and it's been a bit cooler the last few days, but generally, for the most part, you spend probably most of your time in areas like this, just hanging out. Nice tiling and stuff, everything's neat. This is a really lovely little place to hang out. Another interesting thing, it comes with a generator, so I assume it's set up so that if the power goes off, I guess it kicks on automatically, but I've been told that goes with the property also, which is very rare to see people who have thought things through to that extent, and what a bonus to have that as part of the property. And you've got like another bathroom, toilet, and just a little deposito, like storeroom type thing. Yeah, it's big enough to store some tools and stuff. And then you've got these animal enclosures, which will come with it. And that chicken facility over there, I'll just walk around there and check that out. Also got a nice tatakua oven there. Nice and neatly. Yeah, sí, man. Pizza.
Pizza también.
Sí. Muy bien. Ah, sí. Just going over to the chicken house, which is quite grand by the general chicken house standards of Paraguay. Here's your, I guess, workshop area. Nice and well constructed. It's got a good secure sliding door. And this would well and truly do. Hola, lo siento. This would well and truly do as a good workshop area, storage area. And if you built out that garage area that I was just showing, or you could even put your cars in here. And if you really wanted to, you could even renovate this and turn it into a unit of sorts. There's many different things, but hey, it's pretty cool. We've got ceiling fans, which is appreciated. And then just going along to, you know, they've thought about it, like they've got decent security on windows, which is good when you're holding valuable tools and stuff. And this is a serious area in respect to options for chickens. I said they've got some guineafowl on here, or anything else that you sort of tend to put in a pen. And we've got another toilet there. The animals on this property are also part of the deal, and I'm not sure exactly how many they have, but they have sheep, goats, some pigs, I believe. And the sheep here are really interesting. They're not the woolly sheep like I've been used to. They're actually hairy. And I have been told they may originate from Africa, and also apparently they're in Brazil. I've never seen hairy sheep, but there you go. They ran off when I came, so I don't know what to make of that, but there's about 20 of them, I think, and they're really beautiful. And for the life of me, I would have said they are goats every day of the week, but they're not. So if you're looking to start a bit of a small farm, you're already off and away with that, which would be a bit of fun. But the good thing is there's a property that is in its raw form able to hold some animals if that's your thing, because you know, building compounds and places to hold animals and things, it's no small thing. It's a lot of effort and resource, and in a country like Paraguay. Gracias. And you can't take these things for granted. They're happy little chappies. Hello there. Now I can confidently say they are goats, not sheep. The other ones look a lot like those fellas, which is quite funny. So this is now walking down this L shape that I talk about. It's sort of come from that bigger front area. It's got what looks like eucalypts. I don't believe this is part of the property, so this is the adjoining property, and then this is the other part of the property that leads down and heads towards that cerro, but gently sloping, which is good. The water's sort of running away. You're not sitting down in a bowl where you're going to get easily flooded out, I should expect. It is high enough. But quite lovely. No doof. Another thing that is quite notable, I can't hear anything at all. Just a little bit of vehicle traffic, but no doof or anything like that, which is a bonus. Coming down, it really does flatten out here, which is quite interesting. There's the two piggies that come with the property, and they're huge, huh? More like horses. And down to really a quite flat part, and I believe that this is where it sort of becomes a bit boggy. That's interesting. Wow, it does become a bit boggy, doesn't it? Now, is that just a runoff, or is it genuinely all? That's interesting. So it really comes down to an area that's holding, quite a bit of water. Now, you'd have to calculate what percentage of the property it is that's holding that water, and you'd have to work out whether that's viable for you. Clearly you wouldn't be coming down here and just building on this without doing something, but underfoot it doesn't feel too drastic, but they're kind of reedy type, swampy type vegetation, which tells me that it sort of seems to continue. So you must have some natural springs down here that's got some water going on. Now the question I would ask is, if you're going to use that land, what could you use it for? Other types of crops, permaculture, or other sort of activities that would allow you to utilize that land? That's the question you'd have to ask. That is a really beautiful vista from here. One thing it would be good for is to supplement your compost, because this animal activity up here has been obviously sort of running down here. I'd assume at some stage this has been grazed. There's hoof prints and whatnot in there. I don't know how boggy that goes for, if it's the whole flat plain there or not, but it's something that would need to be thought about carefully. So that leaves the rest of the property from this point onwards, I guess, that you can viably think about putting something on. But You know, it's a bit of a calculated exercise to do, to work out the property, what it's got on it, its features, what it's already got built, how much usable land it's got, and whether that price point is fair. I'd have to do my own calculations in terms of usable land mass and come up with my own opinion, but each to their own. But on the face of it, if you're looking for a rural property with at least a half decent house and some usable facilities, it's already set up in a nice part of the country, you could do worse than this, most definitely. When you just look from here, this is all totally serviceable land. It's only once you get down there that it sort of drops off into a sort of a boggy patch. But that is a significant amount of land right there that you could, you know, build more stuff on, whatever it is that you're planning to do. Lots of usable space. I'll be talking more about properties and particularly outside of Asuncion, because there's a lot to consider and there's some things that I think we need to maybe unpack and just talk about the options of buying outside of Asuncion. In Paraguay, there's a ton of talk about investing in, say, apartments, for example, in the capital, but not so much outside. And there are many questions that need to be asked about how you actually do that. How do you invest outside of Asuncion? Where should you consider? How do you go about buying safely and perhaps subdividing or unifying land, which I'll talk about. So there's quite a bit to unpack, and in the next few videos I might try and tackle some of those things. So I hope this has been of interest to you, and until next time, take care. Ciao. Gracias, Cham.
Nunca pensé volver a sentir así. Mariposas vuelan dentro de mí. No